Hello, welcome. Milton Valley Railroad. Yes, we're going back to the mountains, finally, after it's been over a year since we last were there. Maybe we can make this like an annual thing, like maybe once a year we go out and work in the mountains a little bit. The rest of the time is spent building coach yards. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? It's just loading up in the background. I suppose I could show you if you really wanted to see. There you go. See, it's loading up in the background. But you don't want to see that. You do. So here we are. It's just loading up in the background. It is just finished loading up in the background. So here we are. Last time we put in signals, which I think was a good choice. I'm going to stick by that. And we managed to do even more than I thought we would be able to, because we managed to put in the crossing logic for... Hold on. There we go. Just finished loading. Yeah, for the crossings here. So these all should work now. I've not tested them yet, but it does recognize all the parts, so they should work. All of these ones back here as well. So for today, over the last 1 year, we spent building from here all of this stuff going down there, all of this stuff going over here, all of this stuff down there, all of this stuff over here, the yard, the industrial area, all of this. So with 2 streams per week, well, sometimes less than that because of issues. But now let's take a little trip up the line and we'll see where we continue to build this time. Yes, hello Kango Fango. Good evening. Good evening. Great. Wow. I see. I'm still not sure about these automatic horn trigger things, because they're only like a little tap of the horn, and I'm not sure that that sounds better than just not having it at all. For the AI trains, I mean. Now, of course, if I had been working on this route like I do other projects over the course of that year, I would be much further, because so far it's an average of less than 4 hours a week working on this. And part of that is, I mean, it's even less than, I was thinking less than that because of technical issues, but actually no, it's even less than that because of reading chat as well. So I'm quite impressed with what we've managed to accomplish. So you might think that we are continuing to work over here, but if you think that, then you're mistaken, because that wouldn't be very much. It's going to be a little bit hilly back there, but that's not going to be really mountainous. I want to get to the more mountainous bit, so let's go back here. I might have to touch this area up as well at some time, because while I do like the way that this looks, in the time since we've done this, since we built this, the style has changed a little bit, I feel. And this might work better with having some amount of grass lines along the edge there. But I don't know. Hello there, Zephyr. There you are. Also, drip, drip, drip. Yes, it drips. You can see it down there, it drips. Anyway, let's continue. Goodness, I remember when you built this. Drip, yeah. So, go back here. Now, I did want to actually mention something So if we, actually yeah, if we continue back this way, up here where the dam will load in, if we go all the way back here, if we go back to where this bridge is, I originally put this bridge in facing that way, but in the time since then, I've kind of changed my mind. I think I would prefer the bridge facing that way, because that way, any freight that's coming from over here, so from over this way, that wants to go that way, with the bridge facing like this, that'll be fine. Any freight going down there will have to carry on to either a passing loop or something for the runaround to happen, and then you can go back. But that will likely be at one end of the route. And I prefer there to be more action in the middle of the route. So if we switched this bridge going the other way, then you would have to probably go all the way down here to Northasia, where we've got several sidings as it is, then break the train apart, so you leave the bits that are going north here, and then continue south with whatever's going south. And then when a northbound train comes along, you can pick up the things that need to go into the north, which I think would be more fun. So I'll probably switch out this bridge when we continue to work on this bit, which is not today. We're also not continuing work on that bit. So, yeah. Hello, VGR. Eliza loves being in the mountains. Well, great, because we're going to work on the mountains. Oh, hi, same. Oh, it's been so damn long since you've built this. Yes. So, oops. Hold on. If you're clever and observant, or observant, then you will have noticed that, in fact, this is where we're going to continue to build today. Now, you might notice a distinct lack of, ground here. So let's remedy this by adding some. Sorry. I think 2 baseboards should be, yes, 2 baseboards are fine. Northbound train on a southbound track? No. Okay, so let's first flatten it to roughly this height, which is 160 meters-ish. And then we can get to some terraforming. Although I suppose I should probably add some more baseboards. So how do I want this to go? I remember when I built this, I wanted it to narrow up back here and then have the tracks switch sides of the valley/canyon back there, then go up some more and then go to a town. So I think it'll probably carry on with a little left-hand curve there, going straight over, continuing straight till here, probably a little bit of a left, probably crossing over here with another left-hand turn. And then, let's see. So we'll probably come over like that, then cross over here, then carry on like this. Then probably come around there and loop back over to the west. So probably have it like this. So it probably comes over there, then have a little large bend like that, then have it widen back up here. So like a waterfall, looks like a waterfall where the river ends. You mean where the river starts? Here? Oh, that. Haha, yes, you're right. But not for long. Soon you'll be wrong if you were to persist in that observation. Okay, let's just do this very delicately. Just to bring this up just enough. I remember when I built that, Mr. W was still in voice chat for the streams. That was fun. Those were the good old days of this. And now we've got the good new days of this. Okay, almost. There we are. Starts, yeah, exactly what I was about to say. The starts, yeah. I guess you're right, because you did say that. I suppose I could use the copy-paste tool for this and make it a bit quicker. Hold on. I mean, a bigger brush would also help with this. Wink. N3V. Wink. And by wink I mean, no, I'm totally serious about that. A bigger brush would help. I mean, maybe there is one planned for Trainz 2022, but I don't know that. Imagine making routes in Trainz without knowing about the copy-paste tool. That would totally be frustrating and totally also not something that I have done for the first couple of, well, maybe the first year or so of using Trainz. Or maybe even more than that. Totally not something like that. Which also totally doesn't mean that I click thousands of times to make a forest, to place the trees individually. Totally not. So, I think that was a good stream. Right now, let's read chat. We had Mr. W in chat, Silver Eagle, and Anthony2002. Ah, yes. We're gonna need a bigger brush. No. The bigger brush will come soon in a DLC. Well, if they did do that, I think a lot of people would actually buy that, even if it were quite expensive. Because it would just save so much time. Just joshing. Yes. Wait, what? That's it? No. Of course not. Dun dun dun. So, what sort of gradient are we working with here? 1.38. 1.5. 1.53. I think 1.53 should be fine. Yes? Let's have a look back here. What sort of gradients do we have here? Ooh, 2.4. 3.5. 3.5. 2.89. I think a gradient of maybe 1.8 should work. Or maybe that's a bit too steep. Because I don't want everything to be that steep. What if they made the DLC cost $199 and only made it available with the Platinum Edition of TRS-22? Well, then those with TRS-22 would gladly buy it. And those who are considering TRS-22 would probably also consider buying that as well. So, this bit of the route is basically where the valley is going to continue to get narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower. Then I want a nice curve like that, with a bridge going over the canyon, like here. That's probably a bit too long still. Hold on. Maybe like that. And I'm aware that that increases the gradient of this bit, but that's fine. We can have a little bit of variation in that. And then we need a curve like this, because the canyon will come around that way. So now we're on the other side. Which means that now I just want to continue it going this way. And I will probably add some more curves around the place here. It's just a question of roughly planning it out first. And then I would like there to be a really quite steep continuous curve here. Let's change that to 2.3%. And I would like this curve to be, and you can actually place the track from this view, so if from this far away like this. So how about like, oh, but straightening bits is a bit more difficult because apparently it needs to load the mesh for that. So that is not very round. Well, it is round, but it's not very circular. Maybe a bit secular, but not circular. How about that? No, not secular, of course not. Who would believe such a thing? So let's try that. I think that could be good. Having a curve around like this. Now let's see, how far away is it from the last passing track. So we've got that done there, then we've got this whole thing there, but that's not really a passing loop. It's more of its own industry. So maybe we should add like a little passing loop here. Maybe that would be good. I mean, I could even use the rusted version of it. Is that the track I wanted to use for the rust here? I think that might be the one. Yes, it's the one. So, Narowa, Montana. Liza, finally done with my latest build. Build in scrap mechanic, you mean, or what? Ah, nice. Is it a scale model of the RMS Britannic? Of course, what else would it be? Ooh, I need to get rid of the... hold on. Right, so... let's see. It doesn't have to be a large passing loop, considering that the trains going up this way aren't going to be that long anyway, he says. So if I, for example, did it like that? I mean, I might make the passing loop a little bit longer than this, but we'll see. Is that going to be too steep of a curve? I don't think so. I think that would be good. So then extend this to here. And then, okay, well, it is really quite, actually this could be quite adventurous if I just have it, actually let's see, do I even need that? Because well, okay, if I make it join up there, then let's add in a junction here. I mean, if this branch, I mean, the idea for this branch is that it's used very rarely as is, so you would likely never use this passing loop. But if you do need to use it, it's here and it's covered in grass and it's about to fall off the cliff, so that's good. Okay, I'll need to put in the junctions. Let's save. No, something a bit more useful. More useful than a scale model of the RMS Britannic? Apparently. I know, I thought it was impossible too. But are these ones these ones are the yard ones, but I can get the main ones from there. Put a sign there, use at own risk. Well. I'll have to check the distance first. Also, I'm not too convinced about that. And by distance, I mean the distance between the tracks. Looks fine. Here it's getting a little bit close, but if I add I don't know, a boxcar. Yes, see, there's just a little bit of space between there. And then it gets further apart again here. Although here it might be getting a bit too close just for this corner. No, I think that would work. Although you wouldn't want any equipment dangling. Tell you what, I'll increase the distance just a tiny bit, just to be sure. / safe. How to do that? Well, take this point, move it slightly over to the side, like that. Because that has a large vector here, so you can see that gap, that increase there. Ah, right, gotcha. To put it bluntly. Alright, sorry. Picks up custom something. This, my friends, is a very useful tool in case when we hunting down a friend in Estipethus. Ah, well, you've captured him. he's already in the interrogation room. Plus, I don't think that. Oh, his contact. Oh, right, I see. Simon Horley's tar freight. So it was wrong. All right. To put it bluntly. Tad too tight. Well, I think this is fine. I think I will also add just a little tiny bit of ballast. Just a little bit more. Even though I do want to keep it covered in grass. Well, partially covered in grass. I think just adding a little bit of ballast there could help. Like that. I think that's good. And it is... I might actually leave it this bumpy. Ooh, that could be fun. But let's add the frogs first. We'll talk of fun stuff later. Okay, the left one needs to go on, not the left, but on the right. Oh, also I need to... I need to fix this slightly so that they are actually... the tracks have the correct height. So if I select this one and then move it down ever so slightly, what would that look like? That would be too much. Just so that the black parts of the tracks here overlap properly. Which they're still not doing. I need to move down slightly more. Like that. So that it looks like there's a little gap there. Gap there? I never said that. Sorry, I never said that. Well, yes, it is fine now. Sign. Caution. Passing track severely under-maintained. Usage of it is highly disadvised upon. Right, nice. Eliza, this, my friends, is a Romanian-built M66 general-purpose machine gun. Copy of the Soviet PKM machine gun. Bought this one as a surplus and modified it a little. Well... The thing is that just normally wouldn't fit with Star Trek at all. But in this latest episode, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. And by that I mean whether it would fit or not. So here the tracks seem to be level enough. Now, what I need is I need to grab the locomotive from the three-set locomotive from here, because I want to see what it's like to actually go over that quickly, just from the couplers and the bogies. Gaptha agrees. Do not worry, we are gonna fire blanks on set. Ah, that's much better. We're not gonna do a Alec Baldwin, so don't worry. Eh? Do you mean Baldwin as Mr. Conductor? I don't know. I don't know what that's referencing. I mean, I know with Mr. Conductor, of course, but not what VGR is referencing. Yes, I know what you meant, Kango. Oh, that's the wrong one. This one? Yes. Okay, so let's switch the points. Now this isn't a long passing loop, but we don't really need a long one either. In case you didn't know, Alec Baldwin, the actor, accidentally shot a producer during filming. He says the gun misfired. Oh, I did not know that. I don't usually keep up with the careers of actors that much. So, now let's just have a little look over here as we get going over this. This should get bumpy. Oh yes, that is getting very bumpy. I think maybe even too bumpy. At least for this speed. I think we're going to have to reduce the speed a lot for this passing, like maybe 5 miles per hour. So if I slow down to maybe like 5 miles per hour. I think that's going to be better. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe, yeah, I think 5 is probably best for this track. Although that looks stunning, doesn't it? With the orange and the river in the background, the trees. Aww. Anyway. Why would they have live firearms instead? Eliza, on Star Trek Pathos said we're gonna use replica blanks. Oh, replicas of blanks, even better. Those look like real bullets, but the actual bullet is made of propellant. Speaking of frogs, today I've made some good progress on an NPC Gariel Postman model for my project Frog Hop working title game. Great. He's yet to receive teeth though. Sure it is. Wow, that does look stunning. It does muzzle flashes, but it doesn't contain actual projectile. So, wait, do I have speedboards here? Yes, yes, yes. So, got 35 speed limit on the line. I think we'll probably keep that. So let's just add a 35 speed limit there. And I don't actually have a 5 mile per hour speed limit for the board. Hold on. 5 mph. I've got an invisible one. I've got the VR. What is that? I've got a UK one. I mean, what does this one look like? No, that looks too UK-y, considering it's from the UK. We've got the BR speed sign, like that, but no. Those are all still BR, I believe. Yep. Whole lot of BR stuff. And not a single one like that. Okay. Well, let's just have a quick look on the DLS. I'll zoom out to the map in the background so that it's a bit easier to deal with. Alright, so, of course it finds everything with 5 in it, not just 5. Let's just have a quick look through. Oh, these are... Oh, are these... Is this a warning? Let's have a look. Because... oh, that's 5... Oh, no, that is... This one. That one might work, but it's on the wrong side. I'd have to have it on the other side. Should I say about searching for 5 miles per hour, so like with a spacebar in front of it? Well, what if it starts with 5 miles per hour? Then there wouldn't be a spacebar and it wouldn't be found. Hold on, this is... Oh, this is gantry. No, I don't need gantry. I could just have it as invisible. And that might be best. Because if I have it as an invisible thing, it's just basically like a rule. Like if the track looks like that, you're going to do damage to the equipment if you go any faster than 5. And so you're going to go 5. Maybe I don't even have to signpost it. Nope. Let's try searching it together. That might add more. Oh, having it together adds so much more. Hold on, does it do the same thing if I do it over here like that? I'll just quickly scroll through. I don't think so. I think this one works differently. Let's have a look. Actually, if I go for category and then track object, let's cut it down quite a bit. Would only work if the asset name doesn't start with 5. Yeah, but you might still find some good ones, yeah? Maybe? I don't know. Let's have a look. It's all BR stuff, British Rail stuff. Still BR stuff. These only go down to 15. Maybe there's maybe like a yard. Well, that wouldn't work. Ooh, maybe if I search for restricting, although restricting is usually 15. Would it be good if you could drag the bottom of the menu on the right to be taller? But it's been like this ever since they were first introduced. But what? Oh, you mean that? Yeah. Yes. Maybe I can use some of these VR ones. Let's try that. Because if it's just like a wooden post, then that might just work. Hold on, I need to search for VR. If not, hold on, like that. Now the question is, would that actually count as a speed limit? Does it? Is there a way of seeing on this map? I don't think so. Trackside labels, nope. No, so I will have to place a locomotive back there and then we'll see. Let's just move this back. And let's also... but back here, it's going to be a bit of an issue because it's on the wrong side. But anyway, let's just quickly see if that works. I hope it's not crashed. Nope, it hasn't. Good. Looks like pointing to the left. Yes. Let's just wait for it to enter. There we are. Let's switch that. Okay, so that does actually change it to 5 miles per hour, so that does work. But the issue is I wouldn't be able to use it on the other side. I think I'm going to look through the rest of the list on the DLS, and then if that doesn't have anything, I'm probably just going to use invisible speed signs and have it be like a thing where you know that you're not, it wouldn't be safe to go faster than 5 miles per hour over this bit. It really is quite bumpy, and I am deliberately going through past all this to see how bumpy it is when you're going at 5 miles per hour. The answer is really quite bumpy. If you just put a sign like this with invisible speed restrictions, no, then people would think you're not supposed to go on this bit. Okay. Almost there. Almost there, just when this little bend back there starts, that's when I think we'll be past the bit that I wanted to check. Actually, I think this should be good. Yeah, so that speed limit looks fine. So let's just look through these. If that will work. Good. Ah, that's it. Okay. So, right. Invisible speed boards it is. Ah, yes. Sorry. This one is the one I need. Well, one of these ones. This one does luckily have a 5 mile per hour one. So let's put that there. And then 35 the other way. Like that. Then the same on the other end. So 35 that way, and the same negative 30 this way. Okay. If you make him use it in sessions. Wait, what? If you did make him. Oh, right. I don't know. Anyway, that'll work. So then we've got a passing loop right there, which means we've then got a lot of space to play with before we realistically need another one. So now it's time to get out the plateau tool again. And first let's start off by smoothing off this border here. Yes, I'm aware these are still 10-meter baseboards. That is by design. They're easier to manipulate with the terrain tools if you've got them as 10 meters. I'm going to convert them to 5 meters just before I start doing the texturing. Okay. That looks all right. So next, next I think I'm going to paint in the basic course of the river. This is not going to be the final paint job of the river, of course. It's just so that I can more accurately see. Actually, is that where I wanted to have the... Yes, that's, hold on, that's where I want to have the bridge, so it'll have to cross like that. Just because the tracks don't really load, so I can see how I want to do the terraforming. So I want it to be really quite close to the tracks there, and then it just kind of goes off like this, probably. Then here it can get really quite close up. And we get a little bit broader back here. And it comes back around like that. And we can modify how the tracks go when I've put in the terrain as well. I think that might be a little bit too close there. Hold on. I'm going to redo this bit. Going to delete that. By delete I mean erase. And then get the texture again. and something like that would probably be better. So that's the course that the river is maybe going to take. Oh, it's right on the border. Interesting. How about using a single as a sign like that? Sorry. No. That's clearly a road, not railroad, sign. So let's just bring this over this way. Also, it would be much easier if I could just zoom out further. That's another thing that that would be great. Ah, that's a bit too close there. That's fine, I think. Because the tracks are getting higher up anyway. And this time I'm not going to take it exact all the way to the edge, just so it's going to be a little bit easier to do the terraforming on this side of it. And let's use the set height tool. That's going to make this a bit quicker. Also, yeah, that is the height I wanted. It's actually a little bit higher. I like the variety in this route. I mean, having variety in the landscape, and by in the landscape I mean in the types of environment in a route, is something that I've been doing in Trainz since I first started playing it. With my older routes, I often had mountains and then a tunnel, and then when you got out the other side of the tunnel, you were in a different environment, whether that is a desert or whatever. And just having mountains and things, but I never got it to look realistic. And then I already spoke about this a couple streams ago. In Trainz in the Era, the last route that I made in that before the Cheyenne Lake Railroad was the Great Northern Eastern. Was it Great North? I think Great Northern Eastern Railroad. No, it was the Eastern and Western National Railroad. I think that's what it was. Which the plan for that was to have it be a very condensed version of going from the Atlantic to the Pacific. So, I mean, it would only be maybe like 50 miles or something like that long. Maybe a little bit longer, I don't know. And I wanted to have in the middle, well, in the middle-ish, maybe like a bit more towards the west. Wanted to have some desert, and then I wanted it to go over the mountains, which I wanted to make reminiscent of the Rockies, where you would then go, because of the rain shadow, you'd have a little bit more forest there, and then you would go into, again, more drier landscape, more arid landscape, like in California, for example. And then if you go further the other way, you would get to the Great Plains, and you would do some stuff there. I would have probably had to change some of the locations a bit for it to make sense, but that was the plan with it. And then TRS-19 came out, and I did already make a significant amount of that route. But then TRS-19 came out, and like I said before, I didn't really feel like updating that whole thing. I wanted to make new stuff with the new tools and things like that. But yes, I'm really happy that in this route I'm able to have this changing environment. And I mean, even with the Beetlebrook Railroad, or Beetlebrook Line. Is it Beetlebrook Line or Beetlebrook Railroad? Beetlebrook line? I don't know. It's on the DLS. Just search for Beetlebrook, you'll find it. It's a Trainz in the Era map. And even in that, I had the different environments. I had the... If you start from the west, there was... I had something that was reminiscent of the Great Plains. Basically, just really flat, lots of farming, lots of fields. Only back then, I wasn't... I mean, there are still some scenes in that I'm really happy with how they turned out. But back then, I wasn't that experienced with making American routes. I had previously mostly done UK-based things, and that was the first... I mean, it's kind of set in America / Canada. It was... I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it was the first kind of environment that looked that way that I tried making. And yes, so that is the kind of western part. Then if you go further than that, the environment changes to be, so it's like on a plateau, on a mountain plateau in the route, the desert, not the plain farming area thing. So then if you go further east, you start descending down the mountain. And that's a very, well, a heavily forested area, more so reminiscent of the East, like maybe Virginia or something like that. Either one of them. And yeah, maybe also a little bit of Pennsylvania in there, because I quite liked Pennsylvania. I still do, from a scenery point of view. So yes, and then if you see, and then that went downhill for a while. Then eventually you would reach the base of some mountains, which the mountains they didn't look that realistic, and I wanted to have something similar to the horseshoe curve in there. So I put lots of those things in, but it never. But the scale of them was too small. You just end up thinking, oh, why isn't this? Why isn't this just a bridge over there? Why is the other tracks going all the way around here? Why not just use a bridge? And back then I didn't really notice that. Yeah. Plus the mountains also aren't really that big. It feels a little bit... It doesn't feel that realistic. There are some nice views in there, some nice scenery, but it doesn't feel that realistic. And then so you go up the mountains on one side, curving through them, and then you go down the mountains on the other side, again, curving through them. And then you get to another kind of more flat farming area, little bit of it, but also partially wooded. And then the main line just spontaneously becomes a 4-track main line from a 2-track main line, because I was inspired by kind of a little bit of the kind of the feel of like a big main line, like for example the Northeast Corridor or the water level route. Is that also 4-track? I don't know, but only with more forest and more curves. So yeah, and also higher speed limits, but there's no reason why the main line goes into 4 tracks other than I wanted it to look like that. So yeah, then that continued, and then you got to another city, because, right, like, yeah, I forgot to mention, all the way west, on the western edge of this map, there is a big city. I say big city, it's a city with a terminus where the train ends and the yard. Yeah, and then all the way on the east, there's another terminus. You've got freight and passengers going from one end to the other, so you can run these freight trains and passenger trains that I wanted it to have the feeling as though you're taking a cross-continental journey where you're going through these different environments as you go, and the scenery changes the further you go, but the route is just scaled down so much that I think you do still get a bit of the feeling of it, but again, it's not as realistic as I would make it now. And I did start to do something like that with, again, what I said, the Eastern and Western National Railroad. But that never got finished because of Tiers 19. Now I'm trying some amount of that with this, where you've got the mountains on the northern end, and then you've got the flat agricultural area with higher speed limits in the south. And this time, I think that it's turning out very well. Of course, in 2 years' time, I'm going to think, how could I ever do something like that? That's completely unprofessional. Well, no, because the rate at increased realism slows down once you get to a certain point. So, while I've been talking, I've made this valley. Now the question is, should this kind of be kept at this height? Because if I do that, then it feels like we're in like a canyon and there's like a higher plateau up there, which could be nice, because as we're climbing higher and higher and higher, it feels like we're actually getting somewhere. It feels like we're climbing up onto this plateau. But then again, is that something that I want? So if you're going like that, you can see you're going all the way down in this. On the other side, on the other hand, if I did increase the height, then you could get some really, really high peaks there. Maybe not, well, maybe more, I don't know, maybe as high as this. I don't know. I'll read a bit of chat, and then I'll read a bit of chat, and then I'll read a bit of chat, and then, hold on. There we go, just had to get out of that loop. I'll read a bit of chat, and I'll read a bit of chat, no, that's enough of that joke. And then we'll see what we'll do. Right. Right, alright. Different biome, yeah. Like in the trailer of that Lego train game? A bit, yes. Eastern and Western, yeah, coast to coast, but this route won't get a desert, right? No, no. If it did, because this is supposed to be set, well, the northern part of it is supposed, well, it's supposed to be set in kind of like the Virginia, Pennsylvania area. And then this down here is supposed to be a little bit inspired by like Florida or Georgia with sugarcane as well. But definitely East Coast stuff. So if this, with this scale, we would have to go like to maybe even over here, like where my mouse pointer is now, for me to consider maybe slowly transitioning in that. So with the Great Plains starting here, I would need to have a little, if this is the Great Plains starting, I would want to have a transitional area, area like maybe like that much, and I mean with this scale of route, of course. With the given the scale that we've built previously, and then probably have the Great Plains like this. Then, depending how far north we are, either if I really wanted to have desert, I would probably go up to here and then kind of go diagonally down like that to get to kind of more like the Texas kind of area with deserts. Or we'd cross over the mountains. So we've got the Great Plains, then we'd have some mountainous crossing, which if this is the scale of the mountains, then going from here up to there, if this is the halfway point, then going down, so this whole length would be the mountains. So then we'd have the mountains going like that, and then on this side of the mountains, we could start getting into some desert over there. So with this scale of map, which that would take far too long, given how much I can work on this map each week. Anyway. Beetlebrook Railroad. Oh, is that a DLS link? Oh, right. There it is. Yeah, there are a lot of scenes in that route that I'm still very happy with how they turned out. For example, with that crossing there. Oh yeah, multiplayer on that route was so much fun. Me being in the SPU-50, experiencing ghost trains. Yep, I remember, that was fun. No offense and all. That's always good when you start. But it is so refreshing to finally be out and about shaping mountains again. Yes. I mean, of course, last year was brilliant too, but still. Yes, by the eastmost city. Wasn't there also a container industry? Yes, because the westmost city, the western city, on the western end of the route, had a big river running through it that the railroad crossed and went alongside for a bit. And there was a port there. So you could pick up, containers there, and then bring them all the way to the eastern city where you could unload them. And there was also a coal mine where you could bring that over to the port as well for it to be loaded onto ships, barges and things. Plus there was also a power plant that used coal, which was in the middle of the map. I mean, you can just download it yourself if you have Trainz or 2019. Beelbrook, very well indeed. See, it's impressive already. Interesting. I like the idea of the plateau, but I also like the peaks. What would the plateau look like on top of it? Well, if it is a plateau, then it would probably be fields on top. Alright, and will you have salt flats? No. Texas, interesting. So this route is set in Kansas, Nebraska? I don't think that... I don't think that there are enough mountains there for this, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the peaks. I've just made a decision. And I've been told that I make good decisions, and that I will not be faithful. I'll be brave and bold. I will not have faith of the heart. Or however that song goes. I'll have bold of the heart. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Ah, yes, and now I need to fill in this gap because this is where the peaks are going to go. So I should probably have this filled in. Because that means I can have higher peaks. Yeah, peaks would probably be better. Oh yes, I remember now. Good. Good, good. Ah, yes. I would imagine that this would take a lot longer doing this on a model railroad. And it would probably also be a lot more expensive. I mean, I know it's an American route and all, but I think these would still fit great on here. Is that... Oh, these! The peaks. Yeah. I know your game. It was a British locomotive nicknamed the Peak class. I think, is it because of the Peak District, or why were they named that? I don't know. Or I don't remember, I don't know which one. Pretty sure it is, yeah. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see what route I will work on next after the MBR is done, because, well, I am thinking about maybe changing the format a bit. So, because this is taking so much longer than I had expected, I was thinking of perhaps starting a series of edited videos where I take footage over the course of, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and then edit that down with time lapses and post editing commentary, because I think that would be a lot more digestible for most people than these long live streams. But I could probably still, well, I could then still do live streams in between, working on the same route. So then if you enjoy the live streams, there would be live streams, and if you enjoy the videos, then there would be videos, which would be more easily viewed. That is the thing that I'm thinking about. So, yes. I think they were named after peaks in the Peak District, not like a lot more expansive, but a lot more expensive. Oh, expensive, yes. Like the warship class, which had its locomotives named after warships. Was one of them the Hood? One of the warships. Was it named after, what is the name of the Hood? I would be surprised if it wasn't. Kutzel reimagined? Maybe. Although there was that, was it Brazilian or Venezuelan? I think Brazilian route that, was it Chris Atla that wanted me to maybe do that? I don't know. That is a thing to think about as well. Shadows. So you'd do it like me, minus the digestible videos. What do you mean? You mean stream truck sim for months and months and months? I could do that, but I don't think that I would find that satisfying creatively. I mean, having a little bit of truck sim would be very good, especially with convoys. Especially with some of those mini games that Slovak Eagle and co. talked about last time. I would love to try some of those. And that might actually be coming. I'd have to talk it over with them first to see what they thought of it. But that would be great if we could do that. Nope. That was the also Chris. Right, I knew it was one of the Chris's. Chris Adler was the other Chris, yes. Shadows, as in working on the map off stream as well as on stream. Oi! Hey, I mean, it is true. Not saying that you're Bigfoot, but it is truth. Should probably save. It's the, yeah. This is going to be interesting to texture. I mean, it would be different if I had more available stream slots, but because there's only one, I have often in the past decided to use it for that, if people are up for it and or have the time to come. Nope, none called the Hood, as far as I know. Really? That is really very surprising. The battleship, the Hood. That was... That is one called the Glowworm? After the Destroyer? And it might seem like I know a lot about this, but I really don't. I just incidentally learned some stuff about it. It didn't really... Yeah. I just happened to know a bit about it. It's not a lot. And I learned it incidentally, or accidentally. No, not accidentally, but because of a thing, and then now I know it. So, is one the Glowworm? Let's have a look. Where are they? Rock bottom. Glow. Nope, nothing with glow there. Let's try the second one. Glow. Nope, nothing there. That is... okay. Okay, well, give me some examples of the warship names that they're actually named after. Is one the Belfast? Greyhound? Greyhound is a warship. Interesting. I thought they were a bus operator, but never mind. Greyhound Motors. Onslaught? Now that sounds more like a battleship. Any more? I just want to see if I recognize any of them. Isn't Belfast Ireland? No, HMS Belfast. Isn't that the ship that's docked in London? I might have gotten the name confused. Those two are the two preserved 42s. Champion, Formidable. Formidable sounds... Wait, wasn't for the Formidable a ship in the Napoleonic Wars? Hold on. One moment, need to quickly look something up. HMS Formidable. There are... hold on. Yeah, there were quite a few of them. I think the one that I was thinking of is this one, which is the 1777 one. Anyway. Vanguard, Foxhound, Glory, Hercules. Alright. That's an interesting name. The HMS Alright. That was one of the ones from the Peloponnesian Wars, wasn't it? If you know anything, if you know what the Peloponnesian Wars were, then yeah. Onto the Swinbuilt 43 Shreddice XD. Ha. So let's see what this looks like with the tracks, the height set to the tracks. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix a lot of this because there's a lot of this going on at the moment where it looks like it's built out. Also, we might need another passing loop somewhere here. Yes, and that is definitely built out there. I'm not going to do any further because this is where the bridge will come in later. Pathfinder, Royal Oak, Vanquisher, Stream Title. Oh, that's another one. MVR Mountains. Oh, how mountainy you are. Resistance. I see. Yeah, for example here, I do need to bring this out a little bit more. I think a smaller brush would probably suffice for this. Maybe a little bit of a bigger one might be better. And I can change the flow of the river slightly. just to give myself a little bit more room to smoothen out the base here. And we may have to go down with the speed limit to like 25 or something. So if it goes like that, and a little bit of that, just a little bit, so it isn't just a straight wall of of USA. Something like that. I'll of course have to reapply the height to be able to see what it would actually be like. Well, it's 1961. Hello. I'm going to read your message out in great detail in a moment. Your messages, I mean. How are you? It's good to see you again in chat. Currently doing some mountaining. We might even have some waterfalls up here, and then have it come up to where the water level come up to where the tracks are. So it's like maybe a lake up here. Then we have the waterfall, and then or a series of waterfalls perhaps. That still looks a little... Okay, I need to do a little bit more over here as well. And I can also bring the flattened terrain, like if I flatten the terrain to the tracks, I can also bring that in a bit closer manually, which I'll probably do. I just want to give it a little bit more space to start out with. And over here it can get really quite close, which might be why it switches sides of the canyon, because there was a little bit more space to build on the other side. Maybe something like that. And right, let's save and read. Right. Undaunted, Trojan. Oh, Trojan! That sounds familiar. Active, Ark Royal, Bulldog, Conquest, Crossek, Sir Brian Robertson, Vanguard, Formidable, Albion. Albion! Yes, because of course the name for Great Britain. Avenger, Benbow, Cambrian, Caradoc, Centaur, Champion, Cockadale, Cockade. Daring. I read this Darling first, no Daring. The Royal Naval Reserve. 1859 to 1959. Was to have been dispatched. Oh, was to have been dispatched. Dragon, Druid, Eclipse, Foxhound, Glory, Goliath, Grenville, Greyhound, Hercules, Hermes, Highflyer, Intrepid, Jupiter. I thought that one was a GWR steamer. Ah, well. Yeah. And then there's a whole lot more names. I'm just going to quickly skim through them because this might take a bit long. Magnificent, I know that one. Pegasus. Rapid, yes. I know that one. Rebuke, I know that one. Sharpshooter. Steadfast. Swift, yes. Right. Was allocated the name Zealous, never carried. I see. Zealous was allocated the name Zenith, never carried. Zephyr Zest Zulu. Thank you very much. Zealous. Oh, jealous. Sorry, Zealous. Thanks for that. Ship names will often get reused. Yes. Yes. When a ship is retired, its name can be put back in the pool of names for future ships. Yes, and I also know that there were some cases with the where there were multiple ships of the same name, especially in the Great Lakes, where the War of Independence with the Great Lakes. There were some instances where there were some ships with the same name, and so that ended up in supplies and things being sent to the wrong ship by accident and things like that. Alright, that's interesting. If a ship has a particularly illustrious career, its name could also be retired. I see. So, Robert Norby. 3 ships of the Royal Navy have been named HMS Hood after several members of the Hood family, who were notable naval officers. HMS Hood, 1859, a 91-gun second-rate ship of the line. I see. Originally laid down a HMS Edgar, but renamed in 1848 and launched in 1859. She was used for harbour service from 1872 and was sold in 1888. HMS Hood, 1891, a modified Royal Sovereign class battleship launched in 1891 and sunk as a block ship in 1914. Yes. Hold on, need a bit of water. D701 Enterprise. HMS Hood, an Admiral-class battlecruiser launched in 1918 and sunk in 1941 with the German battleship Bismarck and the heavy cruiser Prince Eugen in the Battle of the Denmark Strait. Yes. And because that that latest HMS Hood, because that was such a what's the word I want to use? Such a well-remembered event when that ship, quote-unquote, blew up. I thought that if they have a class of locomotive, whether the locomotives are named after battleships, that one of them would have been named after the Hood, but apparently not. Unless there are some that I just don't know about. Also, looking at this, I think maybe it would be better if I got rid of the gradient. Sorry, apologies. If I got rid of the gradient on some of these parts. So, for example, going over to here, that's fine. But then over on this bit, it's just maybe getting a little bit too far. Although that's where I deliberately put in the stronger gradient. So if I got rid of the gradient, it would put it too far down. Well, let's just do it normally, because I did already specify which gradient I wanted, and I want to kind of keep with that. So here, let's sing in the rain. No, let's terraform this properly. By the way, Willis, 1961, have you ever heard of a game called Stellaris? Just out of curiosity. Right. My previous one was referring to this guy. Right. Yes. Alright, let's see. The name has not been used again by the Royal Navy since World War II. Alright. I think I heard you mention it in chat once or twice. Alright, yeah. Because I just got reminded of it because of the word terraforming, because when I last played it, I just unlocked the terraforming research. Because it's like a grand strategy / galactic civilization simulator game. And I just unlocked that and I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So me saying terraforming just reminded me of that. Let's do it. Let's do it. I've had a really good idea. We'll revamp. Make more camp. A cipher show from yesteryear. Let's do it tonight. I can't do it. I can't do it. I really feel that I can't cope. Yes, I know. It's the Doctor Who tribute song that they made. By the way, where are we on the map now? Glad that you asked. We are in the middle of Alaska. No, we're up here. So this is the map. And we are over here where the gravel pit is. So it starts going over here like that. And you can see here is the gravel pit. And then it carries on going up that way. Carrying on this way. Right. Willis 961, you're in for a surprise. Nebraska? The northeast branch. Yes. Basically. But no, yes. But no, yes. Exactly. Exactly my thoughts. What do you mean west? Paradise West. What do you mean? You said northwest, and I said northwest. Northeast. Oh, did I? I thought I had said northeast. Northeast. I did again. Maybe I did say northeast. I meant to say northwest. I read it as northwest, I just said northeast. You read northeast, but meant northwest, yes. Exactly. It's like left and right. Sometimes you say left when you mean left, and sometimes you say right when you mean left. Okay. By the way, how did you, Willis 1961, did you pick up any of the American Truck Simulator DLCs? Because they're currently on sale for really quite cheap, if you are at all interested in that. I think they're on sale for another 5 days? Question mark? Okay, I think it's probably time to apply the height to the tracks again to see how it'll look this time. I think this is good. I will have to bring the terrain in a little bit so it's closer to the track, so the tracks go closer to the edge. Like for example here, I think if I bring this in closer, then the slope will be a bit better. But I have to switch to the 5 meter grid size before I do that. And before I switch to the 5 meter grid size, I want to do the main terraforming work of the other side as well. For which, I think I will have to add like maybe 4 more baseboards. Because of just of the amount of space that I'll need. So, maybe even more than that. Well, maybe not. So over here, although, because if you're over here, I don't want you to be able to see the back of the hill. I think I'll add 1 there, 1 there, and then here we're going to have to get up to the height of the other one, so I'll add 2 there, and then we'll do the rest over here later. Although, since we're at it now, might as well add like 2 here. So now, it's time to paste in some terrain height to bring all this up. But first I'll read. And somebody needs to say right when you mean right, yes. Yep, all but Wyoming are around 4 to 4 quid. GBP. I think I got most of the map DLCs. Nice. Oh, that's nice. Great. The 2 most recent ones are Colorado and Wyoming. I went exploring on the ETS Germany part of the map. Was a bit disappointing that they don't have much of the secondary roads of the Autobahn included. Yeah. But they are updating the map, the old map, and hopefully putting more stuff in. And there's also the mod, I think it's called Pro Mods. I've not used it personally, but Pro Mods is a free map expansion as far as I'm aware that adds a lot more secondary roads. Yeah, that's true. Same with Iberia. I really like the DLC, but it's mostly just highway. Maybe they'll add some in the future updates. I couldn't get off the A5 at Bad Nauheim to look for my old apartment. Ha! What a disgrace. From what I've seen, Promods have done a great job at updating quite a lot of the base game, and also before that I didn't read that. And the ones currently in development are Texas and Montana, yes. Updating quite a lot of the base game and also expanding the world to be about double the size. Yes. I've not personally used that, but then again I've also not really explored much of the map. Because while I like the truck driving games, if I spend too long driving the trucks, I just feel like I need to do something more creative or productive, because I mean I'll happily play like Transport Fever 2, for example, for a long time, because that is creative and I've got to use my brain and think about and plan and things like that. But with ETS2 and ATS, even though, I mean, it has been quite a while since I've properly played that outside of multiplayer stream, but I just feel like I have to do something a bit more active in a way. I don't know. I don't really get that with Trainz though, for some strange reason. Maybe because when driving Trainz you have to think more about what you're doing and plan ahead of how you're going to drive, when you're going to decelerate. Like for example, if you're coming into a station or something, you've got to take into account not just how long and heavy your train is, but what the gradient is like. If there are any incoming speed restrictions, you've got to pay attention to signals. You've got to pay attention to the weather, if it's like slippery or not in Train Simulator, and if you're playing driving a steam locomotive, well, then that's a whole nother boiler of water. Although, all of that being said, I do really like driving the trucks as well. It's just, well, like I said before, Anyway, so I think I'll bring up the height to track height first, and then build, well, might as well add a little another baseboard here. Look at how tiny that baseboard is! Look at how tiny that is there. Oh, that's a YouTube thing. Sure is, yeah, I do get that. Oh, you get that as well. Disgraceful, disgusting, disgraceful. It's a shame. Yes. Right, now I'll need to paste the terrain height data in here again. Oh, did I just briefly lose internet? I think I may have just briefly lost internet, because over there it says welcome to the chat room again, which would imply that I left the chat room on Twitch. But gently gliding along in the roads in ATS, ETS2 in a truck with cruise control on and maybe some music playing, it can be quite nice and perhaps also relaxing as well, I found. Yeah, I think driving a truck is much more, well, it's not that relaxing if you watch how you drive a lot of the time. Quite stressful, rather. As I think Willis1961 can confirm, because he also saw you drive like that. In the truck sims, I mean. But I do see the point. But I think that is... I think I could do more of that in a stream format. A thing that I have considered was, because the thing is, the ATS map, for example, is huge, it is colossal, but it doesn't really feel that big if you've got the map and the GPS and you say, okay, I'm here, then I've got to go there, okay, we've done half the journey, we've done 3/4 of the journey, so on. It feels smaller than it actually is. So because I haven't explored a lot of that map, the idea that I had was maybe for live streams to just start somewhere, anywhere, and probably with a money cheat or whatever, and then just explore the map, but with the GPS and map turned off, so that so when we come to intersections or things, we can decide, oh, do we want to turn off here? Do we not want to turn off here? What does it look like? Ooh, maybe we should go back there, and then we can explore the map, and maybe we'll accidentally find ourselves in the mountains or in the desert, or we'll go somewhere and we think, oh, maybe we're in Colorado somewhere, and then we see, oh, Los Angeles discovered. Or something like that. And maybe just having some discussion in the background while we just drive along. I think that that could be fun. And I think that that would probably be my preferred way of exploring that map, because then there are other people there, and then it's a bit of time that I'm sharing with those other people, and it's exploring it in a unique way where I feel like I'm not just seeing the scenery while I look at the map, but rather actually exploring the world. Fortunately, I do not have time for that at the moment, for an extra stream slot. But I did think about that. Actually, I thought about that a couple of times already. But anyway. So tell me, what do you think about that? Do you think that that sounds like something that might be fun for you to watch? Or do you think that you might find it a bit boring or whatever? Just, what are your thoughts? Sometimes I just prefer building stuff and never get around to operating. Oh, you mean in... Yeah. Yeah, that does happen sometimes. But with me, it's more so the other way around. That I build some stuff, and then I test it out. And then I kind of keep testing it out, and then I've driven that bit so many times that I'm already kind of bored with it, and then I drop the project. That happened mostly in the past, like many years ago. Like when I first started with Trainz in the era, or was still using Trainz for Mac 2, aka Trainz 2012. Sorry. Trainz, just turn the map off. Yeah, exactly. The idea for my next stream this coming Sunday is to play a minigame in which either me or someone else in the convoy would try to blend in with traffic, so doing nonsensical lane changes and only using base game trucks and no accessories. One player will be attempting to sniff them out. One player will be... Oh, I see. Sure, this sounds like a really swell idea. Would be nice to watch a convoy for once. Although, if I did do that exploration thing the way I mentioned it, it would probably not be a convoy. It would probably be a single-player experience, because everybody with whom I could do a convoy on that would have already explored the map. So, plus it would be better if the conversation would be focused more around chat, rather than, which sounds terrible if you think about it with driving, but I think that would be better considering that is the community. Yes, it would be fun talking over voice chat with a friend, but I think for the experience of the live stream it would be better if it were with chat more. Relaxing. I missed a bit of that. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I missed a really... Hold on. So, operating a train simulator? Oi! Yeah, I did intentionally put it like that. But still, watching Kango drive too much will put me in the hospital mental ward. That is eloquently put. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Now I've read it correctly. Right. Relaxing to me is Transport Fever 2 in sandbox mode with unlimited cash to just build the perfect world. Yeah, exactly. Or playing Trainz, something like that. Or just taking a walk in the woods, but talking about stuff to do on a computer. Yeah. True. Trainz, did you see the message above? Sorry, yes I did now. Trainz, well yeah, or just ATS. Convoy station? But yeah. So yeah, that is a thing that might be fun to try, like maybe for 1 or 2, maybe 3 streams or something like that, to see how well it's received. But anyway, back to this. 10 and 4 on that hand. How did you know? I'd receive it with open arms. I see. Also, this can this maybe should be brought a little bit closer, since at this point the river is on the other side of the tracks here. There was a comma. Yes. I do a lot of the medieval town building simulators, designing and building a town and surrounding areas. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like banished? Do you mean like banished? Or what games do you mean? I guess technically you could count Minecraft as that as well. Should probably also save again at some point. Also, I have a feeling that this might be a little bit close to the river. Also, I need to figure out what to do with the road. Yeah, so like what games do you mean, Willis 1961? What simulators, I mean? Okay, now. The river Don't look at this. The river is basically still down there. Medieval dynasty, medieval engineers, townscaper foundation. Medieval engineers I have heard of, but as far as I know, medieval engineers is that still available for purchase? Because I thought that the devs abandoned it. Or did you buy it back then and you've still got access to it or something like that? Or maybe it is still available for purchase, I don't know. Medieval Dynasty I've not heard of. Townscaper I have. I was actually gifted Townscaper for the Christmas, New Year. I do want to do a stream on that as well, but I've not had really a chance to play it yet. Foundation... I've also not heard of it. Sounds a bit sinister, like, welcome to the Foundation. Like that sort of thing. Nothing you see here will go beyond these walls. Townscaper, I know that one. I got it a while ago. Oh right, that explains them. But yeah, in my next stream, when I am posing as the AI, I'll be forced to drive sensibly. Well, then maybe you should practice a bit. Yes. Also should probably save. I know there's no T at the end there. Believe it or not, I have practiced a bit. Ah, good, yes. And I do believe it. Just yesterday. Ah, right. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. No, that wasn't quite right. That was a little bit off. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I don't know why I just went into Voyager. Oh, probably because of I was thinking about the exploration thing again with a truck and just going wherever, not knowing the map, going into the unknown because of the maps off and things like that, discovering new areas. And that probably just reminded me of Star Trek Voyager a bit. I always really liked Star Trek Voyager's theme. It always feels like Voyager is the home, not just the ship. It's not that bombastic. It's like it's home basically. Kept going above the speed limit. It was like, all right, let me just go around these curves. Let's catch up to these AI cars. Wait, I'm speeding. No, brake. Yes. It is still available, but no longer being updated. Right. Yeah. I like that medieval engineers had the structural, well, the architectural physics system, I suppose you'd call it, where you had to have supports and arches and things like that to actually physically support whatever you were building, which I quite like that, because in so many building games that's not the case, and while that can give much more freedom to what you're building, being constrained in that way sounds like it might be more fun. I don't know, or maybe it's just a different flavor of it. Maybe not necessarily more fun, but a different kind of building fun. Thank you for checking, by the way. Okay, so putting that down there, and this should be steeper, especially since the railroads switched sides. It's now on the other side of the canyon. This one needs to be less. It has to look like it would be harder to build a railroad over on this side than on that side. Which at the moment I don't think is the case. So this needs to be made steeper. Okay. I want to do a convoy with Kango, but I will be in a police car and pull him over every time he starts speeding, runs a stop sign or red light, passes in a no passing zone, etc. Haha. That could be... Actually, that reminds me. Kango Fango and I, many recursive years ago, we played Midtown Madness 2, and one of us had a bus, and the other one had a police car that just followed around, and I was keeping an eye on what he was doing, and if he was doing something like passing illegally or exceeding the speed limit or not stopping or something like that, or crashing against something, then ways to do exactly that, and that was actually quite a lot of fun. Grand idea, although I have yet to find a working police car. There is the Skoda Superb for ATS2, which also had an ATS version made, but I'm not sure if that's been updated. But yeah, I'd love that a lot. Try this. Yes! Ooh, nice tone there. 10 plus years ago. So yes, this needs to just be brought a little bit in close. So it's a little bit steeper so that you can see why the railway was built on the other side. Or maybe it's just got stuff to do with the rocks as well. Maybe that the left-hand side, which technically would be the southern side, is just prone to more landslides, perhaps. I think it's time to probably repaint the river just so it's not as confusing. Oop, nah, not like that. I'll have to first get rid of it. I'd love to do that again, playing MM2, maybe even on stream for the MISC slot. That might be fun. With mods, of course. Bus and map mods. Could be fun, yes. But I have not got it working yet. Okay, so I think I should probably save and then start painting. Sorry if I rasp a lot, I just feel like I have to rasp a lot. I've acquired quite the collection over the years. Most of them I've gotten in 2010. Ah, so they are vintage mods. Great. A lot of the sites aren't even up anymore. Ah, yes. Glad that you've got them archived then. I bet you feel like those monks who were copying books for the libraries. Well, ish. Well, except for the fact that, and that fact as well. Maybe not, maybe you don't feel like a monk. But maybe you feel like you saved some books in a library that was burning, like the Great Library of Alexandria. Which I would much prefer to see that than the pyramids. Just, yeah. Yeah, see now you can imagine what this will look like eventually much better. Also, we are just about hitting the 10 o'clock mark. Yes, remember Classic Madness? Yep. I'm glad to. Oh, it reconnected me to the chat room too, huh? Or have the railroad cross back and forth over the river a few times as it makes its way up the valley, depending on which side is steepest. Adds the opportunity to add some interesting bridges. Well, yeah, that's... I could do it a few times. Hold on, I need to do that. So the thing is, okay, so it crosses over here once. Comes over this way. The only other place at the moment where I could think of maybe having it cross over would be maybe here. Or maybe... But I really like the idea of having this almost like a... Well, what is it like? Maybe a 170 degree turn here. Maybe if it gets a little bit narrower, maybe I can have another bridge over here and then have it crawl up to where the waterfalls and lakes are and things like that. Or maybe I could start having waterfalls here and then have the bridge going over where the waterfalls are. That might look good. I do, Shard Ice, but I unfortunately got rid of all the ETS Gold mods about 10 years back because the macOS version of it didn't support mods. Yeah, that's okay. Mods I'll likely never get to see again. Track hugging mountain, yes. Not tack. So, I think it might be time to get a thumbnail. Maybe like that? Or actually maybe that would be better. Bridge across just in front of the waterfall so that it is in the background behind the trains going by. Ah, maybe. If... But the thing is, the waterfall would have to be lower than the track height. If it were that close. Maybe. Maybe I can have multiple waterfalls. Maybe I can have one in front and one behind the bridge. Although then, no, that wouldn't work. Well, we'll see how it will work out. Those even had some bus driver converts. Yeah, Gemini look-alike with a first skin. Well, I mean, if it's okay with you, I don't know. I could go for a little bit longer, but I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. All right, let's go for a little bit longer. Okay, so let's pull this a bit closer. Just to have this be a little bit narrower back here. Now that we know what it looks like with, well, what it looks like. Looks like ish with a river going through it. I'll have a look at that link in a moment. Oh, that's the one. Oh, right. I think I've seen that before. Yeah, well, with that bridge with the waterfall there, the river's coming down at a 90-degree angle. So the... Well, I suppose if I have it... So I would have to have a... If I did do it like that, then the tracks would have to leave the river. So I could put a bridge, for example, if I had the waterfalls back here, I could put a bridge over the canyon on the left, going to the left, but then the tracks would have to continue that way because they couldn't obviously continue paralleling the river with the waterfall there. And that might be good. I don't know. I was thinking of accompanying the river all the way up to the town so that we could have some road bridges going over the river as well, where the little town is, which is probably going to be up here or something like that. Although that does really look really nice, those pictures. I don't know. The way I was thinking was having the waterfall and the bridge going over right at the top of the waterfall. So you've got the waterfall, then maybe like 20 or so meters gap or 30 meters gap, and then you'd have the bridge going over that. So that if you come the other way, you are going parallel to the river, and then as you start crossing over it, the river just drops away on the side. And I think I'd probably go with that. Although it is interesting. If I were ever to properly mod ATS, I would make a logging truck for it. One of those Pacific or Hayes trucks would be grand. With those offset cabs. Would be quite impossible making for foldable pole logger trailers, but still. Just some talent picks there. Just an example of waterfall behind bridge. Could be a side branch of main river. Oh, well, that's a solution. Yes, so to have a tributary. That sounds more doable. That might actually be really, really nice. Of course, we'll have to see what it will end up looking like once we get there, but that sounds doable. Railroad follows main river, but you could have the lesser side river streams coming in. Yes, that's a good idea. Thank you. With ATS mods, I'd probably start with rescaling, though. Maybe a pack of customizable paint schemes for the 50s Frühhof tanker, famous for appearing in Duel. Maybe I'd make a 70s police car as my first drivable mod for ULS. Aww. Some lesser side live streams coming in. Tributary, that's the word I was looking for. Yes. I'm glad to have been able to help you out. Okay. Just keep terraforming, just keep terraforming. This is how we terraform. Yeah, a bigger brush would really be appreciated. Although I do see that with a bigger brush, you would also get more lag because it would be... Yeah, but maybe if you turn on the debug features or something like that, if there's a concern for lag, and the debug features give you access to a bigger brush, which, yes, is gonna cause a lot of lag while you're using it, but you're using it at your own risk considering you turned it on in the debug feature, something like that. If only this was OMSI 2 editor. Oh wait, no. I'm quite glad that this is not the OMSI 2 map editor. Because if it was, I would have probably already quit out of frustration. Although, to be fair, I have not used the OMSI 2 map editor that much, so I don't know how much I would like it. I only used it once properly, and that was many years ago, and that was the original OMSI. So I think maybe, so we've done a little bit of the hills over there. I think I want to do the terrain up here first, actually, because this is going to be visible from this side. And I don't think I want this to go too high up here, actually, because I do like being able to see the mountains in the distance there. Yeah, the original OMSI's editor is a bit different. Top arrange toolbar instead of menu on the right. All right. Haha, wink wink. Oh, right, yes, I know. Very clever. You don't have to tell that to me. I know that is, or tell me that, rather. I know that is clever. So I think having just some hills over on this side, probably up to about here, I would say, and then having it become much steeper over here, or start becoming steeper that way, because that way, from over here, you can still see the mountain there, and you can still also see that peak wherever that's gonna go. Arg! Great message there. Alright, it continues. I am exaggerating a tad, but it does have its upsides, like a bigger brush, for example, and very precise adjustable splines, but also quite tediously. Instead of being able to put a road down by going click, 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 you've got to place it down, enter length, curve, radius, and banking, and then press N to place the next piece. Also, it lacks an undo feature. Yes, the undo feature is I think the biggest gripe I have with it. And it feels like it could use a lot of polish and a lot of be made more user-friendly. Undo can be a lifesaver. Yeah, especially if the thing you want to undo is your death. But I would advise against that, because if you undo your own death, then you could get into a grandfather paradox with yourself, and that's not fun. But yeah, yes, that's that. I don't think anything more needs to be said. So overall, Trainz editor is better and much better programmed. I would say not that much manual labor needed for small things, but then again, OMSI 2 editor does have its upside. Yes, for example, that you can scale objects and that you can manually adjust their positions with a number value, and you can rotate them and things like that. That is great. And that you can attach objects to splines. That's another great feature. But then and also the banking, where you can set the angle of the embankment. That's another great thing. But oh, the plants, not all objects. Ah, well. But still. Yeah. Basically, that's that then. So I do like how that looks, but I kind of have to drag the slope further. Otherwise, we just have this plateau there, which I don't really want. Just have to drag this further this way a bit more. I should get Mr. W in here again for commentary. Although I don't think he would have time at the moment. Alright, so bring that in like that. So we've got a gradual slope. That looks better. The thing that I don't like about this is that we've got this steep slope here, and then it just flattens off, and then there's a gradual slope. I could push this back so that there is a gradual slope from here going up there, but then maybe I'll try it. So having this go back there, and actually that might look quite nice. That might look quite nice. And no, it's not difficult at all changing work you've already done like this, since this isn't a bunch of detailed area. If this was already detailed, like if the forest had a whole lot of detail in it, then yes, I would be much more, I would have more trepidation about actually doing this, but like this, I think this might look quite nice, because this way it actually looks like there's a little valley, and you've got it going up on either side, and I think this is much more interesting than the flat slope I had before. Pull that over a little bit like that. Yeah, that also looks like the world is actually a little bit more realistic, because there is a valley here that's not actually being used for a railway going through it, or railroad going through it. It's just a valley. So if you're over here, for example, and you're doing some switching by the gravel pit, and you push some cars back here, you can actually just see the valley going that way and the mountains in the distance. I really like that. So, let's read chat. Yes, I remember building a whole area in OMSI 2 and then before saving accidentally clicked once on it with a huge hill brush and then had to quit without saving and build it again. Saving and build it again. This was a few years back. And the thing is, you also never know how large your brush is before actually using it. If I would have seen the brush radius, I would have gone, oh no, I don't want that. But since I didn't see that, I didn't realize I had the brush active and the huge hill that started to appear caught me by surprise. Ouch. Yeah. It's looking nice. It's looking good. Nice to be back in the mountains for a change of pace. Yes, definitely. I'm really enjoying... I was about to say I'm really going to enjoy building this, but I already am enjoying building this. It's funny because we went... just before we started building the flat area, I I asked chat what they would prefer, whether to continue building in the mountains or to build some of the flat mainline. And the answer was, let's build some of the flat mainline for a change of pace, to give me a bit of a break from the mountains, I think was what Slovak Eagle said. And now the turns have tabled. Although while it was frustrating and inconvenient at the time, as it often does, the second version ended up being better than the original version. Yes, I very much agree. We were getting tired of mountains back then. True. Yeah. Slovil, yoo-hoo, we're back in the mountains. Yes. I mean, if that did actually get him over here, that would make me happy. It was nice having him in voice chat. Although that was back when he also live streamed on Twitch, but he doesn't really do that anymore. Should probably save. Have to keep it going like a buffet with a lot of variety. Yes, you're right. Not that I have that much experience with buffets, but yes, you're right in an abstract sense. Yes, which is also part of the reason why with this route as well I wanted to have the flat area and the mountainous area, so that if it does become a little bit repetitive, some of it, I could just switch over to a different area. And yes, I was thinking of maybe having this like shelf here, but then I would really have to have, well, it would look better if I had a plateau on the top, which I don't want to have here, so I don't want to have the shelf here. I just want to have a nice canyon. Yeah, have a little salad, have a little cake. Can't have all cake dishes, yes, throughout an entire day. Yep. Simplified for clarity. Indeed. Also, Willis, since I have you here, have you... I don't remember if you watched the last Star Trek Pathos stream, but there might be some stuff going on that might be worth theorizing about. And if you pay attention to it, it's probably not going to be that hard to catch. So if you do catch it, then good on you. So it might actually be a little bit obvious, but who knows. Right, not a lot of plateaus in this region of the US. There would more likely be in the southwest. Yes, that is true. which is also why I didn't really want to have this area looking like that. Should I just catch? There's stuff to catch. Do I know about this? Yes, you know about this. I think I only caught a piece of it. Yeah, it is a bit subtle at the moment, but I have a feeling that tomorrow it's probably going to get a little bit more obvious. Okay. And I think I'm going to have, since we have quite a lot of space here, I think I'm going to have the peaks have slopes on both sides here, just so that if you're on that side back there, it's not going to look as strange seeing the back side of these peaks. Because I know that for a lot of the slopes that I've done previously, I still have to go back and put in more baseboards so that you don't see the backside of baseboards and things like that, which is probably going to be a thing that I do off stream, as I have previously also said back when I did that first. Remember to pay close attention to our introductions at the start of the stream. It was ever so slightly different last time. Really? At least mine and the other beers. I'm not exactly sure which way you mean. I know that Dodd's was a bit different in a way that I know, but I'm not exactly sure about yours. I'm not sure. I did notice some things. I'm just not sure if I noticed that specific thing. You can DM me if you want. Yes. At least mine and Dodd, yes. Haven't been spending a lot of time online last few weeks due to health reasons. Yeah, I remember you said. Well, I hope you're feeling better. Okay. This is starting to look really good. Then we can have a nice little... Well, I say little. It is, well, technically there's a little peak. Here's a question. Is, by definition, any peak little, since technically the peak is an infinitely small point at the top of a mountain? Aren't technically all peaks little, because the thing leading up to the peak is the slope. So yeah, because the peak is the highest point, so isn't every peak little by definition? One moment. Going for cardiac catheterization next Friday. I'm not 100% sure what that word means. Hold on. But cardiac, of course, to do with the heart. One moment. Well, I hope that it goes without incidents for you. Whatever the procedure is. I think they include the slope leading up to the peak when they refer to how big a peak is. Maybe. Maybe. But does that also apply to like graphs, for example? If you have a graph and you say, yes, the profit margins peaked here, do they also include the slopes of the graph on both sides? That's a question. Because I don't think they do. That is just the single point. Yes. It's probably the difference because with the mountains, it's not necessarily the peak of the mountain, but rather the peak of the mountain range, maybe. Maybe that's the more common use of it. Although I guess it still applies to a singular mountain, I think. So, hold on, I need to check if you're able to see that bit. Don't think you are? No, not from down here. No, you won't see that from here. And if I go further back... No, you're realistically not going to be able to see that. Unless maybe you're all the way back here. I'll have to think about that. But all will go well with the procedure. Yes. Then there is, of course, how big a peak did Kango try sneak of the GM's outline for Star Trek Pathos. Wait, what? Then there is, of course, how big a peak did Kango try to sneak, probably, of the GM's outline. Oh, right, if you imagine that, how big of a peak. I see. Me? Surely you are referring to a different Kango. Yeah, I saw you trying to look over his shoulder. I saw you trying to look over his shoulder. Also, we can have a little bit of a higher thing coming along here because we don't want to necessarily be able to look over that. So, like this would be better. Okay. How does that look? I think that looks good. Adds a little bit more on that side. Oh, we've gone almost half an hour over time. So I think I'm going to get another screenshot. Or 10. I mean... This might not be a bad screenshot either. It's like, okay, we are going to continue building the mountains or something, although it looks a little... It's just, it's hard to get the scale correct in the thumbnails. Alright, it was your evil twin teleporting in. Yes, because the original Kango got stuck in a transporter buffer. Ooh, that might look quite nice. Okay, I think that should probably suffice. The what now? I have a twin. And he's evil? Ah, that one. Wolf in the fold. Oh, you mean Jack the Ripper? Ah, that was a fun episode. Right. Anyway, so... Wait, do I need to save again? I don't know if I need to save again. I think I saved, but... Just in case. Who may not be in chat. But Justin, if you want to come by, please do. If you're the Justin that... I mean, I'm sure that wasn't Commander Baxter. He bears a striking resemblance to that Kango guy. Joseph Fanglands Baxter. I see. I'm just going to do a tiny little bit more terraforming just so that the likelihood of it crashing when I save is lower. Or rather, is less. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. Although, no, I prefer this a little bit lower. One moment. There we are. Served on the USS Saltash, a daily class. My mistake. The enemy within is what I was thinking of. Oh, you mean with the unicorn dog? That one. That's the episode where you get that gif of Kirk, where he's shouting. It's like, I am the captain of the Enterprise, and that whole thing. If I recall correctly, where he, yeah. That episode. I like that episode. It is a little bit what's the word? Campy, I guess, might be the word. But I like it. If you get in the mindset of TOS, it's enjoyable, I think. Oh yeah, I remember that name. Where Kirk got split into two in the transporter. Yeah, that's the one with the unicorn dog. Because if you remember, they found the other unicorn dog. The one was really aggressive and the other one wasn't. And then when they tried to recombine them later, it killed it because of the shock, because it didn't know what was going on. And then they later tried it with Kirk. And of course, Kirk knew what was going on, and so he survived. Except I think Kango is up to about part 23 or so. Wait, do you mean split into 23 parts? 23 parts. Unidog. Which part am I then? Oh, this. No, not Unimog. No. Not sure, but I don't think you are the original. Anyway. Duh. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. It is really good to get back into the mountains, to work up there. And yes, this stream will be archived on YouTube. Kango Fango streams on Sundays, and tomorrow is Star Trek Pathos, continuation of the episode To Touch a Reflection. I had to think of it for a minute there. The episode's name is To Touch a Reflection. Or is it To Touch a Reflection or To Touch Your Reflection? Hold on, what did I call it? One moment, let me just look it up. Yeah, To Touch a Reflection, like I thought. Right. Then it must have been the original telling me that I was him. Or was the other way around? No. I think the original is still stuck in the buffer. That would make sense. I mean, it's funny how often the transporters seem to duplicate people. I mean, it happened to Kirk, it happened to Riker, it happened to Tuvok, well, Tuvok and Neelix. Tuvix is a bit of a reverse situation of that. Although at the end it split them again, which resulted in a murder. Yes. Will he ever get rescued? Find out next time. I know. Saltash. A great title, that. Oh, what? Sat. Not Saltash. Satch. That's why it keeps spitting out Kango dupes. Or Nevok. They really need to get that transport fixed. Yes. Little do you know that Maxwell Severu is deliberately messing with it. Anyway, that's that. See you all next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good night, wherever you are, if it's night. Or good night for the next night that you experience. Anyway, bye. He's trying to expand his transporter black market scam. I see. And all of it. Yeah. Bye-bye. Good night.